You are worthy of the success and the business that God has given you, is the topic of today's podcast. So, welcome to another week, another perspective, another piece of the puzzle in all our journeys. I hope you're doing well. I've been reflecting over the past couple of hours as I was preparing for this podcast. And isn't it amazing that when we take time to look back on what's happened and what our journey has looked like, you can see trends, you can see themes, you can see things from different perspectives. We're a little bit older in the years, hopefully a little bit more wiser. But I think, and this is, I want to be vulnerable with you today, and I'm sure many of you go through this yourself, or you might not have this problem at all. And if so, that's amazing. But I know for me, a theme that's come up as I've been creating Christian Women in Business and doing all the kind of different things, be it renovations, developing in property, or with the Automation Girl, or whatever it's been, is am I worthy enough? And am I worthy enough to have the mission that God's given me? And am I worthy of that success? And I wondered if this was something that maybe came up for you as well. And I want to speak into that today. I decided probably last year sometime that I was going to read the Bible in chronological order. And I haven't set myself a time limit. I'm not saying I have to read every single day, nothing like that. I'm taking my time, I'm diving in deep. I'm really enjoying seeing the journey that God has shared with us through the Bible and all the different components. So I'm still in Old Testament. I've only just made it to Exodus, and it's been a wild journey. So far, I've gone through, and this is all relevant, so stay with me. You might have done this before as well. I've never actually read the Bible in event order, and it's something I've been wanting to do, and so this felt like the right season. So far, I've gone through Adam and Eve and the creation of Earth, Noah, Job, which I felt Job was really relevant in the season that's just been, and like what I'm coming out of now personally. We've been through Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and now I'm up to Moses. So the Israelites are in Egypt. Where am I at Exodus? I'm Exodus 9. So we're just at the point of going through all the plagues, and Moses is going to Pharaoh and saying, hey, you need to let God's people go. And Pharaoh keeps saying no, and God keeps saying, I'm going to keep like the Pharaoh's heart hardened. There's been so many questions that have been coming up that I've been asking God and trying to understand as I've been reading through all the different chapters and getting to know, I guess, all the people a little bit more deeply. But there's a few common themes that have come out from this that I've taken on and has helped give me confidence and brought a different perspective to things. And I know in the past I've mentioned a lot about you are good enough to run your business. God's given you what's on your heart for a reason. And all the people that I've just said are really inspiring in the Bible. We hear a lot about God can use Moses that had a stutter and that wasn't perfect. Then, he can use you as well. I want to bring a different perspective on that today. And that is that God needs humans. End of. He needs humans. He needs humans on earth. He needs us to do our thing, whatever that is. I just realized I've still got my earphones in. I was meant to record a podcast with someone this morning, but it didn't happen. I still have my earphones in. Anyway, God needs us to be on earth to help fulfill his will. He needs humans. We can sometimes get caught up and have been taught that we must humble ourselves and not be full of ourselves. And I'm not saying we should be full of ourselves or anything like that. However, I do think it's really important that we understand the perspective that God needs us to do things on earth for him. And he uses us to do things on earth for him, however that might look. Whether it's Noah saving all the animals, and having that faith in God to save him, his family, and the animals. Or Job, when he had everything ripped from him, he had illnesses. God shared with us resilience, how to build that righteousness. And by righteousness, I don't mean goody two shoes, righteousness, faith in God, righteous, the kind of righteousness that Abraham had, as well as like David, like that kind of righteousness, not, like I said, goody two shoes. But like in Job's righteousness with God and his relationship with God, God had stripped everything away from him, his business, his family, his health. Like he was on the floor. He did have a couple of good friends to pick him up and say, come on, mate, which we all need. But he was like, Job was still there and he still held on to his faith no matter what had happened. And I think we're quite delusional and have been given this picture that only good comes from God. But after really getting into these passages, and I'm personally only up to Exodus, we need to have the fear of God. God can bring down horrific things on earth when he chooses to. And it's the righteous, it's those who have faith that he's saved. I know this is pre-Jesus and I know this is Old Testament, but reading these passages has literally put the fear of God into my soul. He is someone we should fear, and he does have control, and he has control of hardening people's hearts. He has control of plagues. He has control of absolutely everything. Lives taken, not taken. I think, I can't remember where it was, and it's just in the beginning of Exodus of where I am, and we're going through the plagues now, so it's between 4 and 9, and there's more plagues to come, I do believe. But like, God brought down hailstones, and the hailstones fell on the Egyptians and their cattle and their people and their slaves who weren't undercover, and he saved the Israelites. I just think, my gosh, like God sent hailstones down to kill people. Like, we should fear him. Like, he's not mucking around. He is a God of love. He's a God of grace. He sent Jesus, and boy, do we need Jesus. But it's someone that we should be fearful of. He's looking at our hearts, and he is just, yeah. I don't think we as mere human immortals could quite get our heads around the vastity of who God is. Even just, yeah, mind being blown away by even just getting up to Exodus in the Bible. But anyway, God saved those who were righteous, who had that relationship with him, but he needed those people. He needed Joseph. He needed like Abraham to do what he did and to create the tribes of Israel. Like, all these people God's put in place for things to happen, and it has been done with such intricacy, with such precision, and with such intention. And that is inspirational. That is magical. It's amazing. And even though it happened then, that doesn't mean that God doesn't have the same intent and intentional now with you and where you are in your life and what's going on around you, and even how your heart feels. So my question to you today is, if God can see these people who did love him, they did follow him, so I'm not saying you do or don't do any of this, that weren't perfect, but they were righteous, can he not do this for you and use you intentionally in this place where we are right now on earth? Because I think he can, and I think he is. And I wanted to encourage you today that with that righteousness that you carry in your heart to Jesus and to God, and that faith that you carry, that's all you need. And within that, you are worthy enough, and you are worthy enough for your business, and you are worthy enough for success. I look at Joseph and all the success that he had because God gave favor to him with the different pharaohs within Egypt, and how blessed he was and how he was able to look after his father and his brothers. I just think that is amazing. And I'm up to Moses now, And he did have the stutter. And God said, it's okay. I need you. Here's a staff. And here's your brother. And he's going to talk for you, Aaron. I'm pretty sure it's his brother. And now Moses, we go into the place and he's consistently following God in, okay, take this to Pharaoh. I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart. And then X is going to happen. And then Pharaoh keeps going back on his word. But Moses keeps following. Even at this point, he's still following. Is this a test for Moses to see if he'll listen to God and stay in his righteousness? It's not about him being perfect. It's about him going, okay, just going to keep following what you've said. Now, I know it feels different with the fact that in the Old Testament, we see God meets the people and gives them specifics. Like God is very specific and very detailed. He gave Moses a staff and said, drop it on the ground and it's going to turn into a snake. He was very specific with his instructions. And sometimes now it can feel like we don't get the specifics. And that can be hard. It can be so hard. I know I'm like, God, just tell me what to do and tell me the steps and I'll just follow it. We get given snippets, be it through prophetic words, ideas that are put into our minds, our intuition, etc. So that is hard. However, just even having that faith and that righteousness as you walk day by day, I think is a really good place to be in. It's setting that foundation of faith. It's setting that foundation of, I'm good enough because you've chosen me, God. You've chosen me to do what it is, and I'm allowing myself to have that success in you so we can keep moving forwards. I know that's very earthly perspective, but my point is here is more along the lines of you are worthy of doing what it is that the idea that God's put in your heart, expanding your business, keeping your business as is, whatever that is to you. And you're worthy of that success, however that might look to you, that comes with it. And that's okay to have. It's okay to have that abundance. It's okay to have the tools to be able to bless people with as well. Sometimes it can feel like God is pulling us back as well. And in those seasons, it can feel really hard. And I know there's many times in my life through the journey of Christian women in business and everything else where it just feels like I'm being pulled back and pulled back. And I've had the odd prophetic word that's described like I'm being pulled back with an arrow. And it's the preparation, it's the learning, it's in the being pulled back where we ask those questions. God, what do I need to learn from this situation? What is it that I'm missing that I need to learn, pick up? What are you teaching me here? It can feel sometimes like you're being disciplined or that there's a lack of. But I think if we can grasp that moment in our mind where we're thinking lack of and go, actually, no, what is God teaching me here? There's a lesson here to be learned as the arrows being pulled back. And I think once we've learned that lesson and in God's time, and that's when the arrows let go of and we're propelled forward. And in those seasons, it can feel disappointing. It can feel like you're going backwards. And I know, again, the world, if you're not moving forwards and you're not doing that, then you're going backwards. But I'm like, sometimes we need to take that step back and reflect and go, okay, feels like I'm being pulled back here. What is it that I need to learn? What is it that the Holy Spirit's trying to teach me here? God, show me, reveal to me so that we can move forwards with what it is that you need me to do or what the next step is. And even if it feels like we're taking the wrong step, God uses it. He uses it. We see it so many times. If we look at Joseph, he got sold by his brothers. Like, that would feel like you're being pulled back, and like it would be really scary. We just have no concept of what life was like back then. Absolutely no concept at all. Same with Sarah. She felt like she was never going to give birth to a son and it was never going to happen. And maybe 90 years of felt like she's being pulled back, and she had comparison, which robbed her of her joy literally. And then God still blessed her with a son. And it would have been I just can't even imagine. It would just have been such a time and such a faith mode. And could you just imagine being Sarah and be like, hey, I'm really old and I'm pregnant now? Anyway, my point is, you are worthy. God has chosen you for a reason. It's not, doesn't mean that's who you are. Like our businesses, our identity isn't in our businesses and what we're doing, be it a company, not for profit, whatever it is. He's just given us an idea and it's part of our journey, but it's not our identity. Our identity is that we're enough because Jesus has picked us to do it. We're enough to have this success because the blessings do come from God and he's entrusted us with them. And I'm not saying you're not unworthy or anything, but if you don't have all these things and you don't have a big house, that's not what I'm getting at here. I'm getting at your own success, what that looks like to you, and whatever the level is on your heart to grow your business at, or whatever it is, if it's your career. And there are going to be lessons along the way. There's going to be times where you pulled back and there's going to be times where you propelled forward and God's letting the arrow go and you're heading to what are those arrow circle things? I forgot what they're called now, bullseye. But he's got you exactly where he needs you to be. And learn what you can from the season that you're in. Embrace the pulling back and the pushing forwards and change your perspective today that I am worthy of what God's given me. I have my righteousness and my faith in God. And I know that he's going to have me every single step of the way. And it's okay for me to step into this moment, despite what other people think, what they might say, what you might think that other people think that they're probably not thinking, but you're just making it up in your head. You are worthy of where you're meant to be. You are worthy of the direction that God's put you in. And it's okay for you to step into that. This is your sign, literally, that now is the time. And you are to step into that. Step into it with righteousness, with faith. Look at other people, don't look around you. Just look at one step in front of the other of what you're doing and what God's given you in your life and asked you to do, and go with it with confidence, that righteous confidence, that righteous faith. Like when Moses, can you imagine Moses stand there with his staff and going, okay, I'm going to drop this now in front of Pharaoh. Do you think he paused and was like, God, I hope you've got me here as I'm about to drop this stick in front of Pharaoh? Or did he think he just went, drop the stick? Because that's what God's told me to do. And he just had that immediate faith of God's power. This is God. He's told me to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm thinking he didn't have doubt. I'm thinking he just went and did it. I feel like men have a different perspective of life to where and how we do business and things. But he did it. And Noah built the ark. He did it. Joseph went and interpreted dreams. He went and did it. So this is your sign. Go and do it. Don't think twice. Trust in it. Embrace everything that God has given you, the lessons, the wisdom, the knowledge, the team, everything, the resources. No matter how big or small, embrace them, use them. Go out and do what God's asked you to do. You are worthy of doing it, and he has you. I hope that's encouraged you today. It's been a pleasure to bring this podcast to you. We had our first coffee and catch-ups last week. It was amazing on the Sunshine Coast. We had women come up from Brisbane, completely new to meeting me and members and non-members. It's been fantastic. More to come on what we're going to do with that in the future. So watch this space. We've had people contacting us saying, oh, can't you start one here or there? Because we've had members in this last intake join us from Spain, Canada, all over the place. And the matter of the fact is we need people in the area, we need numbers in the area to make in-person catch-ups work. We know that they're needed. We know that people are starting to crave them again now. But we need the numbers in the area. Otherwise, if we say yes to people doing them and they're just sat there by themselves, it doesn't really work. So if you've seen that we've been showing coffee and catch-ups, you've seen that we've really gracefully stepping into building CWIB after a lot of setbacks, please pop your application in. Our next intakes are in July. Please express your interest. Please join the movement. Once you've joined the movement and made that commitment, we know that we can expand in areas. We just have to, it's like the ripple effect. We drop one stone and there's a ripple, and we need your help to build that ripple. We can't do it without you. We need you. We need the people. That's what a movement is. It's a movement of people. And our membership is very affordable. It's very accessible, whether you join Sisterhood or Enriched. There's something for each budget. I just encourage you to take that time to really think, I would love to see more women meet up all around Australia, New Zealand, the world, like Spain. Oh my gosh, could you imagine? That would be amazing. So I encourage you to please get involved in the movement. This is your invitation. We need you so we can keep expanding. It's like the chicken or the egg, which one comes first? Actually, we need more people to join in areas and recruit more people so then we can do the in-person meetup type things and it works. So this is my encouragement to you to think hard. Don't even think hard. Take the step and the faith in us as well and give us the opportunity to create these spaces for you. All right. I'm SJ. You're listening to this week's podcast on the Christian Women in Business podcast, and I'll catch you next time. Can't wait.